What?
Oh, yeah.
Just be sure.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sean McKinney. I'm the Chief of Police here at the Henderson Police Department. Before I get started and share more information with our active shooting event we had last night, there's two things I'd like to say. I'd like to offer our sincere condolences to the victims, their families, and all who were affected by this tragedy. The other point I'd like to point out is this is still a very active investigation. There will be information that I cannot release for fear to jeopardize our pending prosecution. As most of you are aware, we responded last night at 7:40 p.m. to the Harbor House Christian Center located at 804 Clay Street in Henderson, Kentucky. We had received several calls of an active shooter in the building. When officers arrived on scene, they found victims that had suffered gunshot wounds. One of the victims was deceased upon their arrival. Another victim later succumbed to his injuries at the hospital. Two other victims was also transported to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Based on eyewitness statements at the scene, we were able to determine that Kenneth B Gibbs was a person of interest. Mr. Gibbs was a resident of the Harbor House. We gave a description of Mr. Gibbs's vehicle, a white Toyota Prius, and his information. We released that on Facebook. I have learned now that the public reached out to us and gave us the tip that led us to Hayes Boat Ramp. And I'd like to say I'm very proud of that and happy that the community helped with this investigation. It was around approximately 9:47 p.m. when his vehicle was located at Hayes Boat Ramp. He was not in the vehicle, but he was found a short time later walking in the area. Mr. Gibbs was taken into custody without incident. Mr. Gibbs did have a firearm on his person, and I'm very thankful that the incident concluded without any further violence. The deceased victims were identified as Stephen Wathen, age 67, and Chad Holmes, age 44. They were both residents of the Harbor House. The two remaining and surviving victims, one a 33-year-old male, the other a 41-year-old male. They are still in the hospital at this time, and I have been told that they are stable. And that's all the information I have on their condition. We would like to thank the Henderson County Sheriff's Department, the Kentucky State Police, the Henderson County Coroner's Office, the Fire Department, and everyone for their assistance in this investigation. A big thank you to the community for following us, giving us the information on social media that helped us bring this to a conclusion. One other thing I would like to point out is a basic timeline that I think is important in this case, and I'd also like to point out that just last week the Henderson Police Department concluded 2 weeks of active shooter training, and that was very intense training based for events such as this, and I do believe that helped in our response And it was keenly on our minds at the time, and I think it helped in our response. Just a quick timeline that I think is important to know. This call was received at 7:40 p.m. through our dispatch center. This call was given or dispatched to our officers at 7:42 p.m. Our officers were on scene of this active shooter at 7:44 p.m. So sometimes training, hard work, and a little luck helps you get a better resolution. But I'm very excited about our quick response time and how we reacted to the situation. That's all I have at this moment. I will take a few questions. Just please keep in mind that I don't want to talk about anything that could jeopardize the case.
What can you tell us about in regards anything in regards to a motive? Has the suspect given any reason as to the actions, or is there anything that, as detectives were starting to believe, what led up to this?
No, I don't have a clear motive at this time. I don't want to talk too much about his intent, but obviously he was upset at the time of the shooting.
Are you able to tell us where or how the suspect got the firearm? Or what kind of firearm it was?
The firearm, we have an officer here at the City Police Department who is also an ATF task force member. 2 ATF agents responded with us last night, so I don't want to speculate on the status of the firearm, of when, where was it illegal obtainment, but that's something that we're going to dive into very deeply and will be forthcoming later.
Does the suspect have any sort of prior record? Or?
Yeah, I can't comment on his record at this time.
Are you able to tell us, were the residents of the Harper House in a Bible study at the time? I noticed the sign said 7 p.m. was when Bible study started. Can you tell us what was happening inside the building?
It was my understanding that there was a chapel service that had just ended just prior to the shooting.
Were any of the victims and the suspect related or family in any type of way?
Not that I'm aware of.
Are you able to say what kind of gun it was, at least?
No, we're just releasing it's a handgun at this time.
The vehicle in question, how did Mr. Gibbs get a hold of the vehicle? Was that his? Was it someone else's?
You know, today, of course you can't do it all during the night, but today we're actually going through the vehicle and processing the vehicle separately. Of course, we obtained a search warrant for the vehicle. So that investigation into the vehicle, very similar to the firearm, will be more to come on that, so to speak. Anything else? Thank you all so much.